It's 2007. A strange photo emerges online, instantly capturing the world's attention. 13 men in tracksuits and blazers, adorned with rings and gold chains, seem straight out of The Godfather or The Sopranos. But it's simpler than that. The caption reads, "Meet the PayPal Mafia." While many assume these slick-haired guys were into dark business and shady schemes, they actually revolutionized the tech startup ideal, shaping Silicon Valley's modern image. They turned PayPal into not just the largest payment system, but also an incubator for many successful entrepreneurs with billion-dollar fortunes and the most famous companies. Oh, and there are a few missing faces in the photo, but you can probably guess who. This is the story of PayPal. The story begins with a Don, Peter Thiel, who displayed brilliant analytical abilities from childhood and even ranked among the top chess players in the USA before the age of 21. After studying at Stanford, he worked at the major Swiss financial conglomerate Credit Suisse, and a few years later, he founded his first investment company, Thiel Capital Management, with a capital of $1 million. He invested money in various startups, but without success. In 1998, Thiel was giving a lecture on digital currency trading at Stanford, which only 7 people attended. One of them was a programmer named Max Levchin, who just wanted to relax in an air-conditioned room. After the lecture, their conversation grew into a friendship, and they conceived an interesting project. By the late 1990s, online sales had surpassed phone and magazine orders. This was facilitated by the open market created by eBay. Although other online stores existed at the time, eBay was the king of online shopping. Users sent checks and money orders by regular mail to complete their purchases. Clearly, this wasn't the most efficient way to conduct online business. That's when Thiel and Levchin came up with the idea to develop a payment system for Palm Pilot handheld computers, with money transfers via the IR port. But as it turned out, 2 heads weren't enough. They needed more smart people, so they started inviting all their friends, friends of friends, everyone who would eventually become the Mafia. In 1998, thanks to the $500,000 from investors and $240,000 from Thiel's own pocket, they, along with Levchin, founded the financial technology company Confinity and rented a small office, or rather a closet with the office of another fintech startup, X.com, founded and led by, you can probably guess by the letter X of course, Elon Musk, who himself invested $10 million in his venture. X.com was creating a payment system that operated through email. The latter, as we recall, attempted to use the IR port. However, Confinity soon shifted its focus to a similar payment service and named it PayPal, becoming a direct competitor to X.com. Thiel once remarked that competing with Musk was terrifying. Since they worked in the same building, Musk offered to drive Thiel in his $1 million McLaren, simply wanting to show off the car's top speed. While they were spinning in the air, praying for their lives, Musk admitted that he didn't know how to drive. In the end, both the car and Thiel's psyche suffered. Over time, the founders realized that they would achieve better results together. How did they come to this conclusion? X.com had so many data security issues and lacked encryption experts in its team, while Confinity, in their opinion, had the best data encryption expert, Levchin. At the same time, Confinity was in dire need of funds for further growth and scaling. Musk still had $12 million left in his wallet, which he generously invested in the noble cause. In March 2000, X.com and Confinity merged and settled on the name PayPal, because according to many, the name X.com was associated with a porn site. But even though Musk lost the name, he still remained the company's CEO. Max Levchin became the chief technology officer, and Peter Thiel became the chairman. Despite their close corporate cultures, X.com and Confinity disagreed on many issues. For example, regarding the technical infrastructure. Levchin wanted the system to run on Unix, while Musk preferred Microsoft software. They decided to settle the dispute like serious businessmen, through arm wrestling. Musk won, but the remaining 119 employees didn't have enough strength and still chose Levchin's option. And then Levchin decided to get back at Musk, but not through sports. A woman was hired for a high-ranking position in the company, and Levchin didn't want to see the opposite sex in his company, so she had to beat him at table tennis. Overall, everything was going great. Nokia invested $3.5 million in them, Deutsche Bank $1.5 million. In total, the startup received about $23 million in investment, and a few months later this figure reached $200 million. Within a year of working at PayPal, 1.5 million users were registered and the daily turnover exceeded $2 million. But inside the company, things weren't so sweet. The service's website suffered from fraud and crashed at least once a week. Competition in the market was growing, Thiel and Musk couldn't find common ground, and just 2 months after the merger, Thiel and Levchin decided to leave. But they bluffed, and while Musk was enjoying his honeymoon, he was ousted from the throne. Musk didn't seem to be upset and continued to invest in the company, becoming its largest shareholder. At the dawn of the 21st century, internet companies promising a secure retirement collapsed, offering little to no net profit. They suddenly ceased to be attractive to investors. At PayPal, leadership changes and service issues arose simultaneously. They were faced with a choice: sale or IPO. eBay was very interested in the deal, even though they had tried to launch their own payment system, BillPoint. Nevertheless, over 70% of all payment transfers still went through PayPal. Employees believed they should agree, but the company investor Sequoia Capital, the ones who first believed in and invested $150,000 in Apple and $5 million in PayPal, objected. They advised waiting until eBay offered more. In 2002, PayPal, valued at $51 million at the time, decided to attract investments for further development. To do this, the company's shares were put up for auction at $20 each, resulting in $80.5 million raised, and PayPal was ultimately valued at $1 billion. For a service with a 2-year history, this was an almost impossible success, even a crazy one at the time. Musk asked Thiel not to consider any sale offers until they saw the number $10 billion. But nobody listened to him, and then eBay appeared again and swallowed PayPal for $1.5 billion. The end. But no, not at all. Initially, the marriage between the two companies was considered a match made in heaven. eBay owners didn't just leave PayPal as their own pocket payment system, but made efforts to further expand the market. As a result, in the first 3 years since the company's founding, PayPal processed payments totaling over $3 billion between 10.2 million individuals and 2.6 million commercial customers. The next step in development was the introduction of working with other currencies: the euro, Canadian dollar, yuan, yen, and others. The service's functionality was translated into new languages, but the most sensational thing happened in 2006, right in our pockets. PayPal Mobile allowed customers to conduct financial transactions directly from their mobile phones via text messages. PayPal was simply damn proud of this, especially since it happened long before the launch of the first iPhone and the Apple App Store and Google Play stores. The first major clients of PayPal Mobile were MTV, HBA, and 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment Incorporated. Of course, people were initially unaccustomed to transferring their money via phone, so in 2 years, only $141 million went through the app. But by 2010, this figure had grown to $4 billion, and 3 years later to $27 billion. eBay was your standard bureaucratic corporation. The giant was primarily interested in the product, not the team. Once during a meeting, the old PayPal leadership endured a 3-hour presentation of 137 slides and realized they were not aligned with eBay's approach. Around 220 members of the old guard since 2003 left the company. They were talented individuals with experience in creating successful projects, and they had money. Thus, the PayPal Mafia was born, consisting of 13 prominent entrepreneurs. Well, technically 14, but Elon Musk wasn't in the photo because he was receiving the Innovator of the Year award at the same time. Speaking of Musk, let's start with him. In 2002, after selling PayPal, he received his $165 million and invested them in developing Tesla, which is valued at $820 billion as of 2023, and founded SpaceX, valued at $150 billion. Despite disagreements at the beginning, most members of the Mafia invested millions in SpaceX. Peter Thiel received $55 million from PayPal and opened the investment company Founders Fund with assets worth $12 billion as of 2023. In 2004, he was the first to invest $500,000 in Facebook. Later, he created Palantir for data processing and analysis. Its clients included the CIA, FBI, and US Department of Defense. According to one version, it was Palantir that helped track down Osama bin Laden. Max Levchin also received $34 million from PayPal and founded Slide.com for $1 million, allowing the development of various applications. He collaborated with Facebook and MySpace, but in 2010, Levchin sold Slides to Google for $182 million. In 2012, he opened a firm which offers buy now, pay later services. Thanks to this, Levchin's fortune is estimated at $2.1 billion. Reid Hoffman co-founded the business networking site LinkedIn, which he sold to Microsoft in 2016 for $26.2 billion. But the biggest chunk of the pie went to Steve Chen, Chet Hawley, and George Karim, who founded YouTube in 2005. And for that, we thank them because right now you're watching this video here. By the way, you can spot Jad Karim in the very first video on the platform. In 2006, Google acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion. By the end of 2007, the company's revenue reached $1.8 billion, serving 50 million customers worldwide. This was largely thanks to the European Union granting PayPal a banking license, allowing them to operate services in Europe just like a real bank. At that time, PayPal was already the premier payment system, but they aspired to become the sole payment system worldwide. Starting in 2008, they quietly began acquiring competitor companies: Fraud Sciences for $169 million, Bellme Later for $945 million, Word.com for $135 million, Zong for $240 million, Braintree and Venmo for $800 million, Paydent for $280 million, Zoom Corporation for $890 million, and many other fintech companies. By 2011, PayPal was serving 100 million users, processing over 5 million transactions per day, with a total payment volume exceeding $3,600 every second. However, with such immense power and influence, their reputation began to falter. In October 2011, the social network Diaspora raised over $45,000 in donations for network development. However, PayPal inexplicably froze Diaspora's account for 180 days, meaning the company would continue to earn interest on those funds during that time. Diaspora made a big fuss and the decision was reversed, but a month later, one of the Diaspora founders was found dead. In the same year, the cult video game Minecraft was gaining popularity and also fell victim to PayPal's account freeze, totaling $780,000. In May 2013, PayPal actively pursued a bug bounty program to find vulnerabilities on its site. A 17-year-old German student found a bug but was denied the $5,000 reward because he was underage. Later, it turned out that PayPal hardly ever paid anyone, saying, "You're not the first, someone else found this, we're sorry." Then something surreal happened with PayPal. They accidentally credited American Chris Reynolds with over $92 quadrillion. Unimaginable, right? For a few hours, he became richer than anyone on Forbes' list. The company also has stories in its repertoire of terminating services for gambling sites and losing 100,000 customers who were transferring money to Pornhub. The adult site criticized the decision, saying, "We relied on PayPal for our livelihood." In 2014, the value of PayPal in the eyes of investors surpassed that of eBay by 1.4 times. eBay's market capitalization was $34 billion. It was then that the notorious, provocative Wall Street businessman Carl Icahn, who owns 2.5% of eBay shares, demanded the separation of PayPal from its parent company. He convinced other shareholders that PayPal would grow faster without eBay. On the day trading began, PayPal's market value reached a staggering $49 billion, instantly creating another army of PayPal millionaires. So, in July 2014, the heavenly union with eBay cracked at the seams, and the payment system once again became an independent company. However, its momentum didn't slow down in the least. In 2017, 768,745 websites worldwide used PayPal. It was then that they struck a deal with the startup Things, which allowed them to have their own contactless payment platform and access to 200 million users. In 2019, PayPal invested $500 million in Uber, hoping to conquer the growing market of shared rides. And it was then that they bought the Honey app for $4 billion and added 17 million users to their platform. Since 2020, PayPal has begun to enter the profitable but volatile cryptocurrency market, and within just 3 years, it turned out that 70% of the Bitcoin entering the market is purchased through PayPal. By 2024, PayPal had taken 7th place among the largest fintech companies, trailing behind Visa, MasterCard, and Tencent. But it became the most successful online payment system in the world, with revenue of almost $30 billion and 426 million accounts, more than 7 million of which belong to businesses. No matter how the story of this powerful company unfolds, without which perhaps no purchase can be made nowadays, there is something we can learn from it, such as how to cultivate millionaires with unicorns or freeze cards without explanation. In the coming years, PayPal plans to have 1 billion people as its customers, 1/8 of the world's population. And this is more than possible. Do you believe it? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to our channel so we can continue to delight you with great content.